Sony because PlayStation.
Bruh, that's not a PS5 controller, man. What are you doing? This dude ran out of controllers to use. Put that one down, man. That's from when PlayStation was actually a good platform, man. Where's the PS5 one at? That don't even got analogs. What is this man doing?
Just bought Elden Ring. At least that's the way a lot of people are going to be looking
I hope you ain't using it with that controller.
This deal. But Sony just acquired Kakawa, which is a major distributor of anime.
10% of the company, you people acting like, yeah, we got you, Microsoft. You see how broke Sony is? They can't even afford to buy a company outright. Therefore, they got to put 10%. Nothing's going to change. These games are going to continue to go to other platforms. And it is what it is. Like, what are we doing here, man? Y'all want to talk about acquisitions, but what kind of garbage is this?
It's the owner of From Software. But people are extremely angry. In fact, I'd say 80% of the internet is currently waking up like I am and kind of confused.
Well, they can sell the other 90% towards Microsoft if that's what they want, and maybe we might get Bloodborne. That's what happens when, a company like Microsoft has the money to actually be able to acquire things. You see, this is a Band-Aid effect. The fact that Sony couldn't just outright buy this company shows you that they're not good for the gaming industry, on top of the fact that shows you that they're not the market leader. Because clearly a market leader will be able to acquire and grab as many companies as they feel needed. Sony can't even do that for a Japanese studio just because they don't even have the funds. This studio will have a better chance being bought by Microsoft than Sony headquarters.
Store, in some cases, revolted by the news. Now, let's talk about this because the deal did not go down quite the way we originally imagined. When Sony first published their intent to acquire, they said officially about 2 weeks ago, they were like, yes, we're trying to buy them. Yes, we have intent. Yes, we've got cash on hand. But instead of buying them, they just control them. Which means that maybe Elden Ring isn't...
Bro, they ain't controlling this company with 10%, man. Like, now you people are capping, bro. Oh, yeah, how do you guys control? That's like saying, hey, guys, I'm in a relationship with somebody, and, the percentage of what we get in regards to money, I get 10% and she gets 90%. I would go as far to say that your wife that you divorced has way more control of that money than you do.
Going to be inclusive, but let's talk about it because this entire thing... nobody really seems happy about it.
Of course. I mean, I'm not truly bothered. These games are going to continue to come out on multiple platforms. Nothing necessarily changed. You ponies thought you could buy this company and have something to say. You see, Xbox, we got some successful games under our belt, and Sony said we could only afford to do 10%. Is that fine with you? I mean, this dude's probably looking at you like, Sony, I'm coming here on a silver platter for you. Why don't you just buy me? Well, you know what that means? That if they want to be bought out, you know exactly who they're going to go to. And that's going to be Microsoft, baby. You can't make this up, man. Sony's so broke, they can't even afford a company.
Hi, hope you're having a great day. And if you
could this is how you know Sony is not here for the future of video gaming. Because if they were, they would have bought this company. They see no future with them because they just don't have the money to push it. Sony is in the same position as the Sega Dreamcast. The Dreamcast didn't leave because it was a failure. The system actually sold quite well. 13 million in a year and 8 months, or about that, is pretty impressive for a gaming console. But they just didn't have the money for like all these AAA developments on top of managing their hardware. So they had to cut down on something. So now Sony don't necessarily have to cut down on the hardware division as of right now. But PS6, 7, and 8 is when you're going to start seeing things like Sony putting their games on other platforms. Maybe timed exclusivity. You might see Horizon dropping on Xbox at a later date. Very similar to what Microsoft's doing. It is what it is, guys. Like, I hate to keep reiterating it, but the gaming industry has fundamentally changed. The only reason as to why they're holding on to you ponies right now, because they don't want you guys just to completely jump to PC. They're not fully realized yet. But you can clearly see in Microsoft and Sony's messaging to the gamers that there's no red line in regards to any of y'all. The fact that you guys defend the red line with Xbox after putting their games on PC is stupid. Now, if you're one of the Xbox fans that like the Xbox and you play games on it, I'm not talking about you. But the PlayStation 5 fanboy, the one that thinks that Sony don't have a red line with us, bro, they have a red line with y'all too. What is you talking about? There's no red line. They're all crossing it over, and guess what? And all you ponies keep doing is coming up with new narratives. Well, they're not on Xbox. So essentially, you're sounding like Xbox One dudes when they told you that. Remember when they said if a game, think about it. You could go back 6, 7, 8, 9, or even 10 years ago of the videos that they used to make about Xbox, right? Xbox games on PC. What did they say, guys? Weren't exclusive. They said that last generation. So how come PlayStation still has exclusives even though they're doing the same thing that Xbox One did last generation? All you PlayStation ponies is doing is you're in the same position of where Xbox dudes were, and Xbox fanboys are in a new position of Microsoft fundamentally putting their games elsewhere. And by the next generation, you're going to see Sony do the same thing. It is what it is. Sony has always done this. They always have played catch up with its competitor and its competition, which also means that GameStop was right all along.
Give this video a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Biggest publishers in Elden Ring for $330 million. I mean, alone, just Elden Ring. Obviously, not even talking about Sekiro and Bloodborne and Dark Souls and everything else. Freaking Armored Core. Them buying it seems so cheap. Like, just Elden Ring, I think, is now confirmed to have sold 28 million copies. So, buying.
Yeah, but see, this is something you're not understanding. Sony is not. That's due to the fact that it was multi-platform, PC, Xbox, and PlayStation. You guys are acting as if that's sold on one platform, and with Sony's business now, they would probably more likely want to lock it to their console and then eventually push it to other platforms. Sony is still very much stubborn. They're still trying to ride this till the wheels fall off until there's nothing left, and then they'll follow the Microsoft way. That's the reason why Sony did not put the money that they were supposed to. I can guarantee that. Because the only way that this would work is if Sony acquired them and made them still be multi-plat, which would also mean that there would be no benefit of them buying them in the first place. That's why they said, no, we'll just do 10%.
The majority stake for $330 million is kind of bonkers. Sony will become Kakawa's largest shareholder, holding approximately 10% of its shares, including the shares that Sony previously acquired back in February of 2021. Now, they published this big legal document about why they're happy, why this is good, but the instant reaction most people have is honestly much more negative. I actually found these two posts over on Blue Sky, and the handling of Crunchyroll, Funimation, Right Stuff post-acquisition inspires negative confidence in how monumentally they can and will. Sony in talks to acquire Kakawa is such a horrifying thing, I physically recoiled. No, thank you. Look, this is probably not going to be the worst thing ever, but it is interesting, and pretty much all anime fans are not thrilled about it.
Well, they shouldn't be that upset because they only own 10%, which is not going to mean much. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, the guy really has nothing to worry about. But like I said, it just shows you that people are not confident. Especially, I think people are starting to realize now, guys, that they're not confident in Sony managing their intellectual properties. Now, people thought that about Microsoft. Remember how they used to make it, oh, it's a bad thing. You know, Microsoft owning Bethesda and Activision, they're going to create a monopoly. But Microsoft did the best thing by giving their consumers the best experience of these third-party games while also having full main control, while also making the most profit out of it, and also dropping them on PlayStation. These are the things that you guys have all feared. Microsoft did not do that. They wanted to, but the shareholders said no. But Microsoft doesn't care because at the end of the day, money is money to them, right? But Sony, nobody's confident in Sony fully managing these studios, and that is a huge problem. That shows you that they're not the market leader. Right there shows you that they're not the market leader. You guys can keep talking about how Microsoft has failures, but it's the fact that Microsoft fails, it can still keep coming back because they're worth trillions of dollars. Sony ain't worth trillions of dollars. If these things flop, they flop forever. That's what you don't understand. You guys, well, Redfall flopped. I mean, yeah, Microsoft still got $3 billion in the vault, and Sony just went down a few billions down off their net worth. They're only worth like $130 billion. Two AAA games that they want to make for PS5 will be close to $1 billion, and if none of them succeed, that means they lost $1 billion, including all the time that they invested. That's why Sony is in the position that they are.
General, obviously, I'm
It's
trying
done.
to talk about video games here. I'm a big video game guy. This is a big video game channel, but
Yeah, right.
I understand the fact that the connection, the overlap of anime fans and video game fans, it's practically a circle, right? The idea of PlayStation trying to take this over to make it essentially free profit, they're just going to control it and lump it in together.
Yeah, they're not controlling anything. Explain to me where 90% is less than 10%. Explain to me. How do you control a company if you only got 10% in it?
All their other current streaming platforms. It seems like such a strange move to further monetize Sony, but here we go. Let me talk about this. 10% shareholder in Kakawa, a massive multimedia company. Twitter, Sony owns Elden Ring. This is one of the main guys behind Pal World. So it's funny that he's joking about the fact that people are going to kind of not understand this deal.
Well, that's funny. That's funny because you were the first person saying that Sony just owned Elden Ring off this 10% deal, and they don't own absolutely nothing.
Sony people are upset about the anime and manga part of this, but we have zero idea. Scream Monopoly all you want, but in Japan, where anime matters the most, nothing changes.
That's not true. I don't know who came up with this comment. Anime matters the most in Japan? Do you understand that anime is very internationally worldwide in a lot of different regions? When Japan stopped caring about Dragon Ball, who do you guys think carried Dragon Ball? Mexico and America and a few other countries. There was a point where Japan didn't even care about Dragon Ball. I'm speaking facts. Like, I get so sick and tired of people bashing America's influence in regards to anime. Anime gets its influence from Disney's cartoons, which is American. Stop. It's like I'm not trying to act like a patriotic American. America, hell yeah. No, I'm just speaking facts. You guys single-handedly want to keep bashing America just because of the origins of where these things come from, when in reality, America is the reason why anime is even as popular as it is today. Well, that and a few other regions and nations. Not just saying us. A lot of anime is internationally known. You feel me? But if anime was just Japanese, it wouldn't be as successful as it is today. That's all I'm trying to tell you. When I play Dragon Ball Sparking, I don't encounter no Japanese people. They always got some English name. I don't even see them playing the games. I don't even see them really watching the anime. Every time you see a channel on YouTube, it's always some black dude or some American dude or something. They seem to be more of the nerds to this than these people that you want to sit there and say that originally created these things. I'm just saying,
around the
that's
world,
facts.
They already own the biggest anime platform. Nothing changes. I think this is probably the more realistic looking memes. I wanted to save a couple, but a lot of people are basically saying, okay, good thing it's not a buyout. There is still a chance, though, that we're going to get a Bloodborne remaster. There is a good chance that now that Sony owns even 10% of the company.
No. They were going to get it anyway. From my sources, it's already originally planned. It's just a matter of when they're willing to release it. And as of what Sony's doing, they're trying to stall the inevitable of the PS5 platform. I'm telling you guys, this is by far PlayStation's worst generation, bro. They're like, yo, Gapester, you ain't got no sources. Go ahead, keep arguing my sources. I'm telling you, even before the 10%, that y'all were going to get Bloodborne remastered. It's coming. I see the sources. It's coming. Y'all like, I want to know where your sources. No, you don't have to know where I get my sources, but you'll see when it happens. Sony is stalling the inevitable. And what's crazy is that they're trying to use this as the next biggest, greatest game for PlayStation 5 when we already know it's nothing but a PS4 game in disguise. This is ridiculous, bro. This is what gaming has come down to. What happened to the days when you bought games and they were actually demanding? Remember?
This is like owning the ability to vote, but you get 3 votes when everybody else gets 1 vote. Technically, they don't own the company.
They don't own nothing.
Can't control.
I don't know what he's talking about.
The board, they can Howard. even gamers. I think in the console war talk, it was fun to talk about someone's going to buy Square Enix, somebody's going to buy Sega. But now that we've seen these acquisitions actually happen, almost entirely, it ends up messing up the studios. It leads to mass layoffs. It leads to really, really bad stuff. I think it's interesting.
Well, that's about to happen when a new studio gets acquired. But when you look at the overall aspect of the company, like with Bethesda and Activision, um, it seems like they're doing pretty well.
Now that whenever people hear about acquisitions, it's a resounding groan. Hoping this isn't just a stay of execution with the way that Sony runs their stuff. From in a decade, see Concord and Naughty Dog. I mean, obviously this person's being hyperbolic. You can see they're getting ratioed. From an easier to digest term, Sony just became Kakawa's biggest shareholder, which officially makes them the de facto owner of the company.
How does that make them the owner when you only have 10%? Like, bro, you people, you ponies that just want anything for a victory. And I agree with you said he's being racial, whatever that means. He's right. With the way Sony's running things, they're going to destroy them in a decade. Look at all the games that Sony has destroyed that no longer exist. Just look at that right there. And you tell me if those things are still around. Concord didn't exist within 2 weeks. Okay? Naughty Dog is not even getting positive reception for their new game. They're getting nothing but controversy. That has got to be, well, not the first, but I'm saying Last of Us 2 was one of the first games, and then this one as a new title. And people already complain. And like I said, man, you know what these dudes advocate for? You go woke, you go broke. So Naughty Dog doing this with the whole, I'm not saying whatever, justify whatever. I'm just saying that's not a good sign. Even the Assassin's Creed Shadows people, and when people always wanted Assassin's Creed in Japan, and even that game, people was like, I'm not buying it. You go, I'm not saying the game's woke, guys. I'm just saying, you go woke, you go broke. So Naughty Dog doing this is with this new game is not a good look. They might not make the same amount of money they did previously with the other games, and that's bad considering that they're gonna probably put big money into these games. The fact that Naughty Dog can't comfortably come out with a big budget game without people potentially not buying it is a problem in the gaming community. But yet you guys say Microsoft's going broke because they can't sell games, but they're selling Game Pass Ultimate.
Short of managing the actual business operations. Oh man, all the comments. The more you scroll, the more people just get pissed. Okay, well, what do you guys think about this? I think it's odd that it's not a full-blown acquisition, but I'm definitely happy that it's not a full-blown acquisition.
So you're confident about Sony. See? You're not confident with Sony in managing things because if you was, imagine a whole company, the people that make Elden Ring and have all these things where you can have all these profit margins, right? For Sony, which would actually help benefit them. And all Sony can do is afford 10%. They can't even afford the whole company. Just imagine that. You got to sit there and tell yourself, is Sony going to last any longer than the PlayStation 8? They can't even afford to buy a company for this amount of money, but besides putting 10% into it, and you guys have confidence with the way Sony's managing business? Really? I'm telling you, man, Sony is already up out of here, bro. This is PlayStation's last hustle. This is why y'all getting no games. You can have all the Xbox games you want, because at the end of the day, 10 to 15 years, we already know who's going to still be here, and we're going to know who's going to be gone. You can't even, Sony's going to even be worse than Sega because now even Sega's getting popularity with their games. I'm telling you, Sony is getting up out of here, bro. The real PlayStation died with the PS3. Once I found out that Japan, the Sony of Japan does not control what Sony of America, because the PS4 is designed in Sony of America. And the only reason why that is because the PS4 does well. It does well in America, but it didn't do well in Japan. Once you lose the main source, that's like somebody telling me, I'm gonna tell you, you know how you know Xbox is dead? Who's running the Xbox division right now, man? Xbox of Japan. Xbox of Japan is running Xbox now? Yeah, my Microsoft's definitely dead. Yeah, that crazy. They're done. But the fact that Sony of Japan is not managing Sony of America shows you that Sony has already left the console war or console market. The only reason why they continuing it on because there's an audience. Call of Duties and all these other dude bros, which they're still trying to hold on and which Microsoft has single-handedly acquired. That's why they was on their knees crying in the FTCs because they're like, no, you ruined everything. You know? So if anybody's leaving the console market, it's really Sony. You people don't want to admit it. I see it already. Y'all worrying about Microsoft, but it's really not Microsoft. It's Sony. Y'all like, oh, well, Nintendo, you know what I'm saying? Nintendo got their audience. They buy their hardware and they buy it for their games only. And they got their own. They got more online games than PlayStation. Splatoon, Smash Bros. They got more live service games than y'all. Imagine. And you guys want to sit there and say Sony's not doing bad. Sony is doing horrible. They have no identity. Microsoft said, you know what, man, put the games on PS5. Let's take every little bit of their audience, make them fall in love with our games. And when their console ceases to exist, they know where they're going to subscribe to. And that's going to be Game Pass on PC or Game Pass or whatever they got going on. They're not stupid. That's why I don't understand why you Xbox dudes get mad when you see these games going to PlayStation. I don't get mad. I think it's perfect. Trojan horse them. Because they can laugh, they can sit there and cope, they can laugh about, oh, we're taking your games, while a PlayStation exclusive game dies in its honor. I don't care. Let them have their little 2, 3, 4, 5 years of fun. But I'm telling you, once the future of gaming is fully here, people are going to subscribe to Game Pass. It ain't nobody subscribing to PlayStation Premium. They don't even want to buy your games. Your audience don't even care about your games. So how does Sony have a future? You don't have a future. Microsoft's living off your own platform like a leech, living off its host, taking all your fans away while you guys don't buy your own exclusives. That's why I laugh when PlayStation do say, I'm going to buy Xbox games on my Play. I laugh at you. If you do that, you're the reason why PlayStation is going under. I laugh at you when y'all do that because all you're doing is helping Game Pass Ultimate for us. Y'all dummies. Oh, you're playing the game later 6 months, giving Microsoft your $70. You're a dummy. You are dumb if you do that. Because at that point, you should have bought an Xbox. You probably would have gave Microsoft less money if you went out there and bought an Xbox than doing it what you're doing on Sony. And on top of that, save money. Microsoft has single-handedly destroyed the fanboy argument, and I freaking love them for that. It's perfect. So while Sony goes extinct because they can't afford to buy studios or they can't afford to do hardware no more, but Sony of America is the one that's controlling this gaming division. Nintendo of Japan is what controls Nintendo of America. They're the main source. Do you get what I'm saying? That's how I know Nintendo's good. Microsoft of America is what controls their whole overall brand. That's how I know Microsoft's good. But Sony of America controlling Sony of Japan just goes to show you that all this is ain't nothing but a hustle from PlayStation to milk as much money from their loyal, diehard fans until they decide to say, you know what, we're done. We're done. Because once gaming goes to that live service and subscription, when it's just PlayStation Premium versus Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, no matter what the platform is, dudes are going to subscribe to that. And that is what Microsoft's doing. So for you people to say, oh, Microsoft it ain't increasing. It ain't increasing as of right now, but they're putting all the seeds. So when the time is ready and there's no consoles no more, who do you think people are going to subscribe to play their Call of Duties? Game Pass. Who do you think they're going to go to? Xbox. See, are you guys starting to understand where I'm coming from? Maybe this is a little too further past your little feeble, weak mind brains. But this is what's going to happen. 10, 15 years. It's already happening now, but it's going to get worse, right? It's going to get worse in the future. Maybe it's just too much for these guys to see past the future. Y'all going to sit there and thank me. Gamester, you know what, man? I remember when he was sitting there saying this. He was the first person saying this in this community. Watch, you'll see. I'm going to be an old man. I'm going to be in crutches. Yo, I told y'all weren't listening to me. Y'all hated me. Watch, you'll see. I'm telling you right now, people are going to subscribe to Game Pass because PlayStation Premium, nobody likes your games. Even the Sony gamers don't even like your games. So the fact that you PlayStation fanboys have been exposed for liking Xbox games, all you're doing is helping us. You're joining upon us through the ecosystem. You're making Microsoft accounts on your own PlayStations. Microsoft already got you ready to abandon ship. So once Sony decides that they're not going to continue consoles no more, You know where you're going if you want your little Call of Duty fix and all those other games that you love Microsoft for. So keep on buying them, baby. Keep on buying them. You're not going to sit there and try to change the narrative and act like this is such a bad thing for Xbox owners. This is the best thing that's ever happened because it destroyed fanboy topics and it single-handedly destroyed PlayStation from the inside out without even having to be competitive. They didn't even have to compete with you. Imagine that. They didn't even have to directly compete with PlayStation. And I think companies are starting to realize why would the only thing Sega messed up was going tick and tack with Nintendo. There was no reason for that. They should have just they had also the money too. But I'm saying Microsoft single-handedly beat y'all, not even having to fight y'all. Like they didn't even have to. Them fighting y'all is what made Microsoft go under. Them trying to compete. Oh, they got Uncharted. We're gonna put our game. That was ruining Microsoft. I can sit there and tell you as an Xbox fan, that was what was destroying Microsoft. This new Microsoft that we see now is a problem for the gaming industry. And they will single-handedly manage and control, they already kind of are, manage and control vastly everything. The fact that Sony's putting games on PC through Microsoft's very own Windows operating system is already enough proof for you to know that those games are going to eventually drop on the Xbox because they're already kind of there. Steam, who you think's running that Windows operating system? You already gave in. You already have bent the knee. The fact that your games have gone to PC, you as a PlayStation fan has already bent the knee. Stop trying to point the finger and say, it's Microsoft, it's you guys. No, it's not. It's the gaming industry. You guys got to get out the 90s, man. It's not that important anymore. But like I said, hopefully you guys enjoy this video. Obviously, these ponies, they don't want to hear the truth. They just want to hear what they have thinking in their little emotions. But I'm sitting here telling you, 10, 15 years, consoles are going to be different. Sony's not going to want to be pushing no PlayStation 6, 7, and 8. They're going to try to milk They probably will try to milk GTA 6, right? Because I think what might end up happening, GTA 6 will drop on PS5, and then it will drop again on PlayStation 6, and that might be Sony's last console. That might officially be their last console. You know what I'm saying? You know, and I think Sony might potentially go all out. I mean, at that point, you know, because there's really no reason, but we'll have to see. We'll have to see. But Sony is not earning the love of the consumers by having games like Astro Bot. And I really do think that game won Game of the Year so they could push sales for it. They're like, hey guys, it's got attention. Now they got Game of the Year and it's still at 1.5 million. Like, this is embarrassing, bro. Like, even games that y'all say is good ain't even selling. Mario Odyssey never won an award like that, and guess what? The game sold millions. Have you noticed that all the games that don't get nominated are the ones that are actually doing better than the games that are? Like, does that even make sense? Like, I mean, think about it. Nintendo games barely even get nominated or mentioned, and I can guarantee you that they outsell every single Xbox and PlayStation game. But they never get nominated. They never win awards. They never win anything. But they're winning from the financial standpoint. But even though Nintendo is winning in the financial standpoint, they're not making any more money than what they have now. See, have you noticed? All right, let me break this down. Sony and Nintendo, even though they've been going about their practices, right, the way that they have been going for the past decades, right, or whatever have you noticed that they're still stuck around the 130 billion while Microsoft is going up in the trillions? Have you noticed that? You know why they still stuck there? Because they're not doing anything different. Yeah, Nintendo is making their money. It sounds good to the fanboys, but people have to understand, it's not making Nintendo any more richer than what they are. You feel me? Microsoft taking gambles, taking chances, they're getting richer and richer and richer. And I wonder why that is. And I wonder why companies follow them. Because that's what they inspired to be, and that's what they want. You know, Nintendo's been at 130 billion ever since they came out as a company. They never, you guys want to talk about advancement? They never further went up higher than that. Nintendo has always been at that market, that net worth. Even Sony, y'all say Sony's the biggest in gaming. Even with the PS4, they barely even went up past how much they're worth. Look at how much they're worth, guys. They haven't been better than that. They've been relatively the same. And what's even more funny, it would be easier to go up from $1 billion to $1 trillion than $1 trillion to another trillion. Right? It would be easier to go up from billions of dollars of what you have to at least get up to one. They still haven't even got up to 1 trillion. They haven't even got up to $1 trillion. Y'all like, man, Gamester, you know what, man? You speaking bars right now, man. Like, that's a good point. Nintendo and Sony hasn't evolved past their billion mark. Even with how successful they've been, even Sony's greatest years, even and I'm gonna speak volumes, even in Nintendo's best era, they can't even get 1 trillion. Y'all like, oh, that's true. That's true. Even they right up behind Sony of Japan. Sony of Japan, I think, is worth a little bit more. They do a few more things than Nintendo, obviously. But I'm just saying, think about what I'm saying. Instead of just saying, oh, he's a fan, think about what I'm actually saying. Because there's some truth in what I'm trying to tell you. And think about it. With the Nintendo Switch selling over 100 million, selling 80 million, games or whatever have you, and they're still stuck at 130 billion? You think Nintendo would be at 1 trillion right now, wouldn't you think? Nope. They still stuck at 100. And why is that? Because they're just playing comfortable. That's what it is. They're not taking those chances. They're not gambling. They're not trying to take over the market. That's how you know they're not the market leader. That's how you know Sony ain't the market leader. That's how you know. Microsoft does something, the competition follows suit. We clearly see that. That is the market leader. Y'all know, Nintendo put subscriptions in their consoles because Microsoft did it with theirs. Sony did the same thing. How is PlayStation a market leader? Y'all didn't even come up with these things. Microsoft did. Well, Sega did, but then, you guys get what I'm saying. But Microsoft. So who copied that? Who copied what? Why did Nintendo put online subscription on their Switch if they're the market leader? Why didn't they just stick with free online? Oh, no, they seen how much money Microsoft was making. Ding, 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 ding. Good answer, Carl. Why do you think Sony with the PS3 put online with the PS4? Ding, 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 ding. Because of the Xbox 360 and the original Xbox. Good answer, Carl. Because they didn't make no money with PS2 and PS3 with these online games. They did it with the PS4, and they were charging y'all the same way y'all did with Xbox. And guess what? The narrative changed. I thought y'all said Xbox sucked because you have to pay for online, and now ponies are paying for it. I mean, the hypocrisy. Y'all claim that y'all the market leaders, but nobody's following you. All y'all can use is, we got metrics of sales, we got metrics of hardware, but y'all not looking at the things behind the scenes, though. You're not looking at it because it doesn't suit your little console war narrative. That's why I be trying to tell you, Microsoft is physically fine right now with how they're going about managing business. While they getting richer, I wouldn't say Sony and Nintendo are getting poorer. It's just y'all ain't evolving. And this is not good for the future of gaming. You can't be at 130 billion at PS6, 7, 8, and 9, and 10. You got to have more money than that, my friend. Games are already hitting $400, $500 million budgets, which is already $500 million. Y'all sitting there saying, PlayStation got the hardware, yeah, PS6, 7, and 8? How is that going to be possible if y'all can't even afford to buy this company or to even put that money in the game now? That's why Sony's throwing out remasters and remakes. They playing y'all, and y'all don't want to see it. Y'all like, wow, Gamester, man. You know what? I'm going to trade my PlayStation, bro. You ain't even got to trade it. Just understand that things are about to change. That's all it is, bro. That's all it is. So you guys can run the PC thinking that's going to save you. It's not. Because Microsoft's in control of that, too. You big old dummies. Y'all a bunch of fools. Just buy your console and enjoy the games. I mean, I don't enjoy them because I think they personally suck. But still, it seems like you guys like them, so just enjoy them. I don't understand why we got all this console war garbage, man. But Nintendo hasn't evolved past their money. Neither did Sony. They have stayed relatively the same. And I hope people from Nintendo and I hope people from the real Sony community can understand what I'm trying to say, because how can you guys have faith? Now, Nintendo can get away with it because they haven't reached that PS4 level and they haven't reached, so Nintendo, secured themselves maybe another 15, 20 years by playing the slow game. What Nintendo did is what Sony should have done. Sony, I know they weren't going to do that, but I'm just saying Nintendo is essentially, I'm going to explain what Nintendo did. Nintendo is the turtle that won the race against the rabbit. That's all it is. Sony was the rabbit doing everything fast, everything quick, all this. And Nintendo's the turtle that did everything slow, but still end up winning the race. Because now look at it. The fact that Nintendo stalled the inevitable, and now they're going to get to probably PS4 level of specs. Now they can push a PS5 level of specs, which is probably going to be a very long time. They're going to make their money. But unfortunately, they had to get rid of their home console market to do it. Nintendo has already left the home console market in favor of their always popular portables. So we can clearly see that there's a shift in gaming. But like I said, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, man. I don't want to go too long on this. But if you guys want me to touch up on it on another video, I can. Take care. Peace out.